Spring has finally sprung. It has been a long, hard winter here in New York City. Spring and summer also do mean sunscreen weather, which can be a little stressful. We were done with all those layers and now here we go. But today's guest is Samantha Lawi, who is the Sqween queen, the founder of the very first paint-on children's sunscreen. And I used it this spring break and I finally got sunscreen on my son for the first time in longer than I'd care to admit. My kids were really excited to like paint their faces green and pink, knowing that like, oh, he could be out there on the water slides, soak in the sun without it causing a burn. So welcome to Mom Curious, Samantha Lawi. This is the Mom Curious podcast, where we say the quiet part out loud about womanhood, motherhood, and everything in between.
And I still have a couple of the vials.
Shut up!
No, you shut up. I kept them. So
you're just hoarding sperm?
No,
that was a joke. That was a joke.
That was a joke. 30, like my mid 30s, when like my body started changing and stuff after shitting out 3 kids.
Stop taking advice from people on the internet, like myself included.
And I didn't realize how heavy that would be, and that loving my children would not be enough to make me not a basket case.
And that gave me the freedom to do something for myself.
And it's an adventure that is not just all doom and gloom.
You know better, and if you didn't, now you know better.
Putting sunscreen on kids is a pain in the ass.
It really is.
It's terrible. I mean, like, and it's not generationally, it's terrible, right? Like memories of when people say sunscreen, like there's a little bit of a flinch with us, right? And so the idea of putting it on kids, you're like, oh, horrible.
I know, and it's like such a fun day. You like want them to have fun.
Sqween was really created originally because we have a family history of melanoma. More specifically, my father-in-law died of melanoma. And my husband's Middle Eastern. And so it was even more surprising that being the case, right? Because you talk about different skin melanin, different skin tones. Most people associate melanoma with a more fair skin profile, right? And it got me thinking, as a mother, I wanted better for my children than I could do for myself, right? And so the idea of instilling in them, wanting to make sure they had safe sun protection was really important, right? Because my girls, who are now 6 and 8, previously were not willing to sit still. And I needed, chasing them around, bribing them. I'm like, here's a snack, here's a popsicle, here's this. Like, please just sit still, let me rub you down. And they're like, get away from me, right? And so
if they would say get away from me, that would that would
be very verbal and communicative. Like,
yeah,
this was like,
actually, that would be. I would prefer it. They're like baby alligators.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like to say feral cats. So it's like very similar, right?
Yeah.
So it started getting more complicated, right? And knowing that you have family history makes you even more susceptible, right? And so it's got my wheels turning. I'm like, okay, great. So then what happened was I was getting emails from camp and school basically saying, please apply sunscreen on your children before they arrive at 8 in the morning. I'm going, first of all, do you know what my house is like at 8 in the morning? It's insanity, right? Yeah. That mixed with 8 in the morning is great, but can you talk to me about what it means at noon? Because peak sun is noon. And I'm thinking, that's great, but what does this all have to do? Like, how are my kids going to stay safe in the middle of the day? And such the rabbit hole of understanding all the different things that were happening in the sun space, understanding what it does to our skin, making sure, just ultimately wanting to keep my kids safe. That's kind of how Sqween came to be, because it was this kind of aha moment of, how do I empower my kids to be in control of their own sun safety in the same way that I'm teaching my girls how to get dressed, I'm teaching them how to brush their teeth, I'm teaching them go to the bathroom, all the different kind of life skills. 1 in 5, this is according to the Skin Cancer Foundation, will have some form of skin cancer by the time they're 70. And so much of our sun damage happens before the age of 18.
I read that on your website and I was like, what?
It's crazy. This is something that is preventable by wearing sun protection and sunscreen. How do I get them to do that? Because I took a UV mirror and showed my kids what my skin looks like underneath, and they were astounded.
What's a UV mirror?
A UV mirror shows you the sun damage that you have on your skin that it penetrates deep. So there's no cosmetic, anything you can do to change the cellular, on a cellular level, what sun does to your skin. And so then I showed them what their skin looks like, having worn sunscreen. And if you put a UV mirror on your face and you see, if you did half sunscreen, half no sunscreen, you would see the delineation of what, you could see the coverage and understand merely from that.
Just from that day?
From the protection. And so important for them to be aware and understanding of what their own skin is and how the mere illustration of them seeing it, understanding what sunscreen can do for them. It was needing to find not just a sunscreen formulation, the actual formula that we like to use, but also a way of applying it that allowed them to do it themselves and that they enjoyed doing and that they felt good doing. And that took the battle out of it.
Yes, just from our spring break experience, like it's like a paint, like it's like there's a brush on like the squeezy bottle and the kid just like, you know, mashes it around his face. And my daughter doesn't have a problem like with putting on lotion of any kind. She's just just lather her up. But my son is like, okay, well I could do this. And then there's another one where there's like a sponge. So there's like a different sensory experience.
Yes.
Which is really, it makes it easy for them to say yes and then to do it themselves. But does that mean that when they're at school or camp, they're taking it out of their bags and they're putting it on in the middle of the day?
I'm not here to be like, you should wear sunscreen, make sure your kids put it in your backpacks every day. Like, that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, for example, recently, the last year, regulation has changed on a statewide level, state by state. Previously, you were never allowed to bring sunscreen to school without a doctor's note. And so let's take ourselves out of the New York state of mind and put us in Florida, in Texas, in California, where it is hot and sunny a lot more of the year and kids are outside playing sports, doing lots of different activities more frequently. Imagine if your child was going to school and they were saying, I can't bring sunscreen to school, school doesn't have it, but I'm going outside to play, and there's this element of getting sunburnt being very risky, right? I mean,
yeah.
And so only in the last year has statewide regulation changed for 29 states and Washington, D.C., that is allowing kids to bring sunscreen to school without red tape, without the doctor's note.
Do you know why they changed it?
So a group of very passionate parents work together to put together regulation that is supported across both sides of the aisle to help on a statewide level to keep kids safe and allow them to bring sunscreen without all the drama associated with it.
I'm so glad to hear that a band of parents somehow made it possible for kids to bring sunscreen in their backpacks to school, reapply whenever they want, just like, I don't know, like lip balm.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And if you have a type of sunscreen that works for your child to like put it on themselves, that, I mean, a lot of the battle is won right there.
Yes.
If they like the experience.
Yes.
So the kids actually, the point of Sqween, which is a very cute name, after like the way your daughter used to call sunscreen.
Sunscreen. Yeah. Yes.
But the point of Sqween is to make it fun for littler kids so that they get into the habit, the fun, the flow, and it's just part of their daily routine. Is that right?
Yeah.
The formula.
Yeah.
You were looking for a mineral-based formula that wasn't a chemical sunscreen.
Yes.
I don't know what the difference between those two things are, so I need you to parse that apart for me real quick. And then we'll get to what your formulation is.
Chemical sunscreen is sunscreen that's viewed as an active ingredient and it's absorbed into the skin. Whereas mineral sunscreen, look at it like it's a shield, where it's a topical blocker. The sun rays come down, bounce off the skin, and leave. So it never actually penetrates into the skin to affect their skin in any sort of absorbative way.
I from based on what I know, like for most kids, we prefer mineral sunscreen. I just didn't know why.
In speaking with most parents that I knew and kind of gauging community, understanding that a lot of people did use mineral sunscreen. What makes sunscreen, that's a tongue twister, is the active ingredient. So when you look on the back in the ingredients panel, it says active ingredient, zinc oxide. And so sometimes with mineral sunscreen, people don't like mineral sunscreen because they say it has this weird cast being kind of the film that you see. And so
it's like that lifeguard with the white nose.
Exactly.
That's zinc, right?
Zinc.
Yeah.
And I grew up with sunscreen and zinc, like heavy colored. You know, it's either color war at camp, the fun things you'd see. And by the way, you'd wash it off and you try to wash it off and it would stick on your face and it would stain your face. And it was this bizarre experience, right? I never found a mineral sunscreen without a cast that didn't feel disgusting to use. Or it was staining my driveway. And I'm going, if it stained my driveway, why am I putting it on my children? Why am I putting it on myself?
What you did with Sqween is that you actually made different colors so that it kind of just looks like, I don't know, face paint. And so we got the green and the pink. And so Ness could, feel like a Hulk or a dinosaur or whatever. And my daughter, likes to put on makeup. So that was really fun for her. But it's a way of educating them in a tactile, sensory way that's an easy yes, which I really appreciate.
Listen, every parent approaches how they communicate about suns in their own way, right? So I appreciate also that not everybody is going to be like, hey, let's talk about this, as if we're all going to try to be the teacher of the day, right? Sometimes it's as easy to be like, hey, look how cool this is. I got this for you. Why don't you try it out? And it's as easy as handing it to them, being like, this is fun. What's this all about, right? And so there was this element of giving kids control of their own sun destiny for whatever purpose, but their own health, their own happy, like it's their bodies, and in the same way that we're teaching independence about a lot of things, as I've said. So, but the colors are really fun. They come in, Sqween comes in 6 colors: original, pink, like a pinky purple, blue, rose gold, I'm like green, light green, and gold. And it's really fun. But I mean, the rose gold, my girlfriends all wanted some because they said, well, what about us? And I said, okay, we can do this. This is interesting. And so I said, that's our version of rosé all day. But it's also fun because it's like, okay, here's your Sqween, here's my Sqween. Let's Sqween together. We're part of the Sqween team. I know it's a lot of Sqween. It's funny, but it's one of these elements where, right, so Sqween is offered in a variety of different colors for a reason. I grew up going to summer camp, color war, team spirit. The more fun you can have with it, the better. Yeah. Because then it just makes you want to use it, right? Yeah. But that at the same time also makes sure that if you are not a specific color, depending on what your skin tone is, depending on your melanin, that you also can have fun putting on sun protection that is mineral based. That's not going to leave a white chalky paste on your skin, right? And so the more fun you can have with it, mixed with more inclusive it is, the more important.
Can we talk about what it's been like for you to start this new venture as a businesswoman and mom of 2?
You come up with an idea and really internally struggled with, okay, let me evaluate where I am in my life. Let me evaluate where I am with all different things. Do you take the risk? Do you not take the risk? I used my life savings.
Wow.
And also, you evaluate, my kids are at this age, how present I want to be. All the different internal struggles that I think a lot of parents, a lot of women struggle with. But knowing that it was something that I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was something that was like, I thought on it for a really long time. And then I said, internally, I was like, no, this is something I have to do. I have to do it for them. I have to do it. And it's a fascinating, it's an amazing experience, but it's also, it is not for the faint-hearted, I will say. It is, they go to school, and I still want to be as present of a parent as I can be as possible. They're 6 and 8 years old, right? Yeah. So it is trying to be as hands-on as I can. I just came from parent-teacher conferences, right? And then this one's going in one direction, the other one's going in another direction, and I'm up, I will do bedtime when I can, and I'm there, but it is not easy, but it's worth it.
Why?
As a mother, you don't know how you're going to be defined. You define yourself. I defined myself pre-motherhood professionally. I knew my identity as myself. I knew who Samantha was, who I wanted to be. I lost a lot of it during motherhood, not because I was focused on Samantha the mother, but Samantha's more than just the mother. And being the mother, it actually was part of the reason why this business all started. This wasn't something I had in my brain before I became a parent. And you know what type of parent I was going to be, right? I mean, nobody knows.
Better than everyone else, though. That's what I thought.
Love that.
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't know how it's going to go, but it's going to go better than whatever he's doing.
You know what? I am here for that.
Yeah.
Right? It's more like
you live, you learn,
You take it one day at a time and you try to do the best you can, because it is like drinking from a fire hose, right? And so it was this element of trying desperately to make sure that it wasn't about me. It was about doing something to help them, but in the same time helps me.
It's totally okay for it to be about you.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, I say that to you and I say that to everyone listening. It really is totally okay for it to be about you. I mean, you were born the same way they were.
No question. But what's fascinating is just understand. It's not figuring out how to make something like this work. Took so much. I mean, sunscreen's regulated. It's a federally regulated product. You have to go through working so many different pieces together, understanding, setting up meetings and times where it works, how it all works. I still feel my daughter comes I work from home, comes in while I'm in the middle of several different Zooms, being like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Come on, join the conversation."
That's
right?
great.
Which is important too.
Yeah.
They were. Until recently, they were helping me pack every order. We were filling every box. It is important to me to also show my daughters that, I don't feel like I work, because this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. And it is important to show them, for me, to show them there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's just working hard in a variety of different areas that I'm 100% passionate about, and hoping that they too, as they get older, care about things and put the effort in.
I love that so much. I don't think a lot of people admit that there's no such thing as work-life balance. There's no such thing as balance. I mean, striving for balance seems like a futile pursuit, which I definitely tried, because I took the yoga classes, I meditate, I read the books.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not a monk.
No, balance is not real. I mean, it's
but
a nice idea.
Working hard, actually. I just saw a psychic recently, and I was like, when will I feel the happiness? And she's like, the work.
Yeah.
The work makes you happy.
Yeah.
Actually, it turns out, and I know that a lot of the education system changes, and obviously everyone has their own philosophy, but it turns out working hard feels good.
Really good.
Not just emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, it feels good to work hard.
Yes, absolutely.
So teaching your daughters that is everything.
As long as I can be a good role model, right, and show them, they're going to figure out their own path. They're going to see it all, and they see, as a mother, you always feel like, I'm never doing it right? It's like, I'm working, Mom, you're always working, or Mom, you're this or this and that. So you just take it in stride, because balance, there's always a trade-off, right? If you're super excited about work and you're traveling somewhere, but you're missing out on something, that's the reality, right? But ultimately, you hope the end goal is, it's not the small moments, but the bigger picture that they see, and you try to work through the moments that may be missed, and then a bummer may feel like a bummer, right? For both sides, right? It's
Yeah,
also
you didn't
okay.
have kids so that like you would miss their play.
Totally.
Like you wanted to be at the play.
Of course. Like, why wouldn't I want to be there, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also, it's also okay to enjoy being alone on an airplane,
Yes.
right? Like, it's also okay.
If you're listening to Mom Curious, I know that you have a particular interest in the arts, in culture, in exciting hangs that are IRL. And I know that you could use a break after the summer, quote unquote, break. So I want to invite you to a really exciting film festival that's happening on Fire Island after the kids have left and the families have departed. And it's happening September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's going to be an incredible hang for tastemakers, industry leaders, of course, filmmakers. And I want you to be there. I'll be there too, so I'll tell you a little bit more about it. The Grove and Pines Film Festival is a love letter to Fire Island, New York. At the film festival, there will be exclusive screenings, top-tier entertainment, exciting parties, merch, secret lounges, and so much more. It's a celebration of authentic queer storytelling. It's happening September 18th, 19th, and 20th. The tickets are on sale now at groveandpinesfilmfestival.com. You wouldn't want to miss the inaugural year of a history-making festival. Grove and Pines Film Festival is a proud nonprofit 501c3 who are offering a $5K grant to LGBTQ filmmakers. And we can't wait to see you. So check out GAPFF.com for more details. When I learned about your father-in-law, and I really took a second.
And he was 60, right? He wasn't old. I mean, 60's not old.
And I also always thought like skin cancer, you could sort of just like cut off that part. That's what happened with my grandmother, right? Like she was the sun worshiper with the reflector, and she had all these like sunspots, and I didn't think they were ugly by any means. They were my grandmother's hands, so I just thought those are what grandmother's hands look like, and arms, and they would just cut out a bit of skin cancer.
Sure.
And I thought I didn't realize skin cancer is deadly.
Yeah. I mean,
anymore. I didn't realize.
So it's so fascinating because I think what's often missed or forgotten or misunderstood is that sun damage, you don't see the effects of sun damage for a really long time. So I started looking, it's like, where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? And the dermatologist is like, well, Sam, that's what happened to your skin from 25 years ago. And so it's hard to understand the severity of it when it's happening in real time, because a burn happens, but then you get better, you move on, and you don't really see what it can do on the cellular level.
It's very similar to your teeth. It's like we brush our teeth twice a day. Like you get a cavity out of nowhere. I haven't eaten any sweets. What's going on? Things happen inside your mouth, and it's a matter of an accumulation.
Exactly.
This is a hygiene conversation, I think.
It's so interesting, though, too, because you have people, you were talking about your grandmother, you have people that, there is a special surgery, it's called Mohs surgery, which is for removing malignant cells on the body, or it's a special type of surgery, so it minimizes scars, effects, and it's most closely associated with skin cancer, right? And so you're having people who are much younger getting that type of surgery more frequently because of what we all did with our skin 20 plus years ago.
The tanning booths,
but just sitting outside in the sun, right? And so something that was traditionally reserved for people who were much older, 80s, 90s, Floridians, right? Like they're outside, it's like all of these, is happening much earlier in age. And you have, people like Andy Roddick coming and speaking out saying, I had skin cancer removed and I'm not that old, but I've been playing tennis outside for so long. Parents, please have your kids wear sunscreen, right? It's becoming a lot more rampant and happening much earlier. And, you don't really want to have your nose, you have surgery on your nose, and then all of a sudden you have a chunk missing out of your nose.
Right?
I mean, I can
I know
appreciate if
someone
somebody,
who
if
has
you don't
that.
want the wrinkles, right? You don't want the, it stinks.
It's deadly. I mean,
Yes.
it's a lethal disease. I mean,
Yes.
if it goes unchecked. So
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
we have the thing is there are things in life we cannot control. This is not one of them.
Exactly.
To the best of our ability, we can brush our teeth in the morning and at night.
Exactly.
We can floss. Flossing is really important, just in case you were wondering. I
is
didn't
very
realize
important.
that. Well, okay. But
We could go into a whole conversation.
I
I've
mean,
learned
seriously.
so much about
flossing. But I digress.
No.
But it's the same, It's like you got to apply sunscreen. You got to put it on. I put on a tinted moisturizer today that has sunscreen, and I
Great.
thought of you, and I felt very proud of myself.
I'm very happy. Thank you. By the way, that's my goal. You can think of me every time. But that's the whole point, right? I'm not coming here to be like, let's put on sunscreen every day, like, tyrant. This is how it has to be. I'm like, start small. If the battle is first when you're going on vacation, or the battle is when it's day camp, or the battle is you're going with friends and you're going for a bike ride, right? Like, let's start small, ease in, phase into it, because the point is to have a positive experience. And then hopefully, in turn, the behavior pattern can hopefully change, right?
Okay, so where can we find you and keep this conversation going? And also, where can we buy Sqween?
Well, you can buy Sqween at our website at getsqween.com, and Sqween is Sqween. And please reach out on social, follow us, and let me know what you think. And our social is at get_Sqween.
Awesome. Samantha Lawi, thank you so much.
This has been a Hoff Studios production. Executive producer, Laura Lucetti. I'm your host and creator, Daniella Rabbani. Come find me at Daniella Rabbani. My DMs are open and I want to hear everything. Also, if you like the show, please send it to a friend and leave a review, because we are in this together.